Earl Morgan. You're back with us in the spotlight, and with my guest, Tinia, co-host Tinia Bland, who is going to be a guest here one night because somehow I got to let you people know all the things this woman does. I don't know where she ever finds time to speak. But Tinia, I wanted to ask you, what did you think about any last thoughts you had about our first segment with Joe Panapinto, Bill O'Day, and Pat Callahan?
Well, you know, Earl, last week, we saw so much violence because of what's going on with the police and African American males. And as our audience, I hope, remembers, we interviewed the police director, and then we had our commander down to speak about it.
Last 2 weeks ago,
Commander
of the West District was at a neighborhood forum. He, incidentally, with Commander Kelly.
Yes.
Very good. I mean, we're lucky to have this guy as our precinct commander.
But the reason why
they could have used him in Baltimore.
And many other places like New York,
right.
and we can go on. And the reason why it's so important is we believe, and I think I speak for both of us, that you don't wait until a situation is over your head. You jump in, as one of our guests said, head over heels, and you make sure it doesn't happen at home. And that was our effort to do that. With the Croson study, as you recall,
disparity study.
The Croson report, which is the disparity study, as you recall, March 21st, we had a meeting. And it was at that meeting that this program was announced. And we wanted to make sure that our audience heard it. Why? Because we realized that there is such a disparity with real jobs, career positions in our African American men and women. So if they don't know, if our education system isn't doing what it needs to do to get our children, our young men and women, to the point where they can work, then what happens in a city where people are not working?
Well, you get crime.
And this
inevitably you're going to get crime.
And this is why it's so important despair, i.e. our disparity report. So this is why on so many levels, Earl Morgan and myself have decided that this is the issue we're going to tackle. If you go from New York to every other city that's had this problem, the one thing you did not hear was programs that were put into place to help men and women become employed.
Well, you know, the interesting thing about this program, now I've watched the city struggle for years with these what they call project labor agreements. Yes. Around the developments and all the development that went on in Jersey City in the last 10, 15 years, or 20 years. And they all failed. They didn't meet the mark. They put a few people to work for very little time, and then they were gone.
But you mean it, a few.
A few. But this program does something so important. It was done once before when Ed Howard ran the job club in Jersey City. He did something like this. And he was able to put people to work, but the city in its infinite stupidity didn't continue the program. This time with Bill O'Day and people of substance,
Joe Panapinto
and Pat Callahan, changed the whole dynamic here.
But there's something that's so important about them, Earl, and they said it. And they said it over and over again. They were born here, they were raised here, and what they wanted to see was the city continue to thrive through her greatest resources, which are men and women. They cared. That's the word, they cared.
Well, yes, they did. And, you know, I've had my issues with Joe Panapinto over the years and his business of getting abatements from the city. We've had tussles about it. But through it all, Joe has always been a guy that was down on the ground with people. You know, he's made an awful lot of money out of the city, but he's also given an awful lot back to it. And that's what's important. He is wealthy, there's no doubt about it. He's done well for himself and his family. He's got this beautiful office in this beautiful building that he built. But he's also reached down with Bill O'Day, who's an amazing character. You must have seen that from the time you had him here. And they really went down into the weeds and got people, because that's where it's got to come from.
But let's be clear. The American dream is something that everyone is supposed to be able to avail themselves to. It doesn't count when there's a few people that sit on high and look down low and decide who should be able to take part in it. So when you have developers and politicians that realize this is a place all people should have a seat at the table and do something about it in the name of a collaboration, that's when it works.
And you know, the other piece of this is the unions were often a real problem for us. Getting to get the trade unions open has always been a struggle. Pat Kelleher runs the Hudson County Council, Labor Council, and he's in. He's right. All in.
He's totally invested.
You know, and that means that's opened up everything. And they're looking not to make 40 guys careers, they're looking to make 140 guys. So that's just about it for us tonight. We'll be back in 2 weeks here at the Right Side Tavern.
But you make sure you come out.
And you
May
please come
22nd.
out. Oh, May 22nd for our forum at Lincoln High School. We'll be having a forum on the 31st District candidates. Please come to that. I think you'll find it very, very knowledgeable. And please be back here. Come and join us at the Bright Side. You got to realize something. The Bright Side has become the place to be here. It's a crossroad road. It's between downtown Jersey City and what we call the Hill. People from both sides come. I'm going to say it again. The food is great. The drinks are good. The entertainment is great. There's a jazz program coming on tonight, on a Monday night. And did I say the food is good?
And did you say everyone comes here? Because this is the place to be.
This is the place to be. We're out. See you next time.
All right, come on. Cut.